Let me ask you about someone that you knew early on in Cage Warriors, and I would argue you might have the most unique perspective on Mr. Conor McGregor, because not only did you cover his fight in Dublin, which was, something out of just madness, I believe, at the time, but you saw him up and coming in this organization. You called his fight with Joe Duffy that he lost in Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
And then you watched him emerge after that.
Yeah.
And like lately there's been some videos on YouTube where you see this really young Conor McGregor, and it's these old shots, maybe it's from Cage Warrior interviews, I don't know, where you see this guy without the persona and the cockiness, and he's just talking, and you can tell he loves it. You can tell he just loves mixed martial arts. And then you see him coming up. What was it like to watch him coming up? Did you know there would be something special there? And what's it's been like to watch him now that you're both in the UFC?
It's incredible, right? we needed, and we need stars in order to progress our sport. And we need them in many different molds. And Conor is just the most unique mold. And it's not contrived. So when I first met Conor, it was obvious that this kid was full of beans. So the way that the most simple way I can really put it is he's just been given a platform where he can turn the volume up. It was always there. He just needed an opportunity to really express himself, both in terms of a martial artist and then this other side, his character, which is fantastic. It's a beautiful thing to have watched. But I didn't foresee this happening when he threw down with Joe Duffy. I mean, those guys were two people that we were talking about. They weren't, I don't even know if they were like main card. And it was just these two guys that just clashed super quickly in the middle of I think that clash, or Duffy got a cut, and it was over within, seconds. Duffy was a very good jiu-jitsu player, traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, and it went down to the canvas very quickly, and I think he got a submission there. But every time that Conor McGregor was on a card, he would just bring this kind of energy where he would come up for the weigh-ins and he'd be right in someone's face. I remember one fight, I think it was against Dave Hill when he fought for the featherweight title. Brooke, who is one of the very lovely cage girls at Cage Warriors, she was thrown off of the stage, the backdrop went flying, and McGregor he just shot onto that stage, and Dave Hill didn't know what was going on. I mean, he was a talented martial artist and a really nice guy. And he just wasn't ready for that. And he lost it there and then, in that moment.
He was getting into people's heads even back then?
Still, yeah.
Okay.
It's been working for him for years. Okay. But when you add the audience, when you add the lights, when you add the cameras, and you turn that volume up, that intimidation factor, and what a beautiful orator. I mean, people don't always look at what he actually says. They just listen to it. They don't hear it. But the bits that are always played about, we're here to take over. I'm doing it with the Irish behind me, and I'm not saying it's calculated, but brilliant.
Right.
You've just enlisted an army.
Yeah.
Because they are a smaller nation, and they're passionate, and I think that they needed. From speaking with my Irish friends, they needed something in this time period to really help them through some of the hardship that I think a lot of people have been experiencing around Europe. And I like to call him a European as well. He would probably hate that, but we'll take it. And it's been fascinating. He's a wonderful study. I get to interview him quite a lot because I do producer work as well for the UFC. Yeah. But commentating on that fight, 2014 in Dublin, was probably the highlight of my career for a few different reasons.
Can you describe what it was like being there?
It was sensational. It was bonkers, madness, intense, hot.
Hot.
Yeah.
Because Conor had won 2 or 3 in a row in the UFC now at this point.
Yeah.
And he was fighting, it was like
Brandao, yeah.
Brandao was number 7 ranked. He was just making his way up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And first time his UFC is in Dublin, maybe, or second time?
But yeah, it come back, yeah. But it was a smaller arena for the UFC. I think it was like 10,000 that were fitting in there. But they tried to put as many as they could because, again, the audience were very close to us. And I just remember looking around, and it wasn't just Conor that created the atmosphere that night. It was all of the Irish guys plus Gunnar Nelson, because they cleaned up. They all won. from the very first fight, they created this momentum, and the Irish just loved it. They lapped it up. It was absolutely fantastic. That level of support is just, you just got to give them a round of applause. You know, give yourselves a pat on the back, because you fans are just brilliant and will come back for this, no doubt. So they were being roused by their fighters. They're getting behind it. It was celebratory, and you just couldn't help but feel that positive energy.
You said one time that you're sitting next to the cage in between the fighters and the fans, and you said that you feel the wave of positive energy pass through your body.
Yeah.
Continue watching this fascinating conversation for free by clicking on the link below to visit our website, learn from the best minds in the world, and connect with a community of passionate people building the best versions of themselves. Just click on the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.